at Vale, obviously. Historically, Easter's a very important time, isn't it? I mean, you must know that going back to your playing days as well as your managerial days.
Yeah, of course it is. Yeah, it's obviously 2 games in a short period of time against 2 teams who are up there fighting for it like we are. So if we can win 2 games, we can really propel ourselves right up there and obviously take points off teams in and around us, which is what we'll be trying to do. We know it's tough. You know, at the minute, nobody's really grabbing 2nd to 7th, you know, making them their own. We want to try and do that, but we know we've got 2 really tough games.
Could there be a real shift in momentum for somebody over this period?
Of course there could be. Of course there could be. But everyone's got tough games to play, and you've just got to. Friday, we've got to look after Friday first, and then we'll worry about Northampton after that. We know Port Vale are a good side, particularly at home on a big pitch. Pope, Hughes, Calvin, Andrew got some good striking options. Got good wide players. Though it looks like Ashley's out for the season. We know they're a good side, and they've been up there all season. We've just got to make sure that we're as good as we have been of late. You know, bar the Burton blip, we've been decent, and you know, after shocking conditions on Saturday against Barnet, you know, we still looked to try and win the game. We just couldn't quite see it through.
I can't imagine DVD analysis would have taken too long of last Saturday.
Now, to be honest, I haven't looked at it. I've sent it off to another club, asked me to have a quick look at it. I couldn't take anything out of the game really. But I knew what I saw at the time. The boys worked extremely hard, and it took a lot out of them. The conditions, the pitch. We've had a good couple of days to recover, get back into it today, and we'll prepare as normal as we do.
You mentioned the pitch at Vale. It is wide. Does that make it easier to play an extra man in midfield if teams choose to do that?
It just depends. You know, it just depends how you play. Mickey has predominantly played 4-4-2 all season by the looks of it, because he's had 2 strikers scoring goals. Whether it's one just off or whatever, we'll have a game plan. We'll try and come up with something. We'll try and do what we do best and try and play our game. It is a big pitch, but I think there's not a great deal in all of the pitches, to be honest. I think, but with this one, just the distance it is from the stands and the grass that's on the side of the pitch, particularly over the far side, it does look a bigger pitch than everything else. But it's only a couple of yards.
Interesting, isn't it, how Vale have been up at the top all season, but gradually the pack have been chipping away at that lead, and it's nothing like it was a month ago. Yeah.
6 games to go, 7 for them. We've all just got to hold our nerve and see where it takes us. You know, one game at a time. That's where we are at the moment, and I know it's a double header, and we'll be talking about that too. You know, our thoughts and our focus is purely on Port Vale. We talked about, you know, do we pick 2 teams, and that's what we want to do on Monday, that's what we want to do on Friday. No, we don't. We pick a team for Friday, and we do our utmost to try and get something out of the game, try and win the game, and then Monday will then take care of itself.
Interesting how over the season some players start well and maybe can't quite carry it through, some come strong towards the end, and over the last month or so, Sam Deering seems to have become almost a cult figure.
He's a good player. We've always known he's a good player, but we just haven't found the right formula to get him in the team on a regular basis. You know, he had a spell in the side around the start of the season, and then a little bit in the middle, but the team hasn't picked itself week in, week out for an 8-game stretch, and that probably shows that, you know, we haven't been, although we've only lost the least amount of games in our division, we haven't won enough of those games, and we've just tried to keep finding the right formula. Sam's playing well. He was desperately unlucky on Saturday not to score. He's a threat. He causes teams problems, and long may that continue.
Russ went off in the second half. How's he come out of that?
He's struggling, to be honest. He's got a knee. He opened his knee up a little bit. Mo's got a kick as well. Well, I don't know if it's a kick or I think it just knee ballooned up again on Saturday after the game. So he's a doubt. So we've got a couple of injuries, but we've I say, we've got people in the wings waiting to come in.
Are they serious or just
Nah,
niggly ones that
just-
might take a week or so?
Unfortunately, just might miss a game or two, both of them. But I'll see. I mean, there's still a chance that miracles might happen and they might be fit, but they won't be training today, and we'll have to see where we are.
And in terms of the loan window, which closes tomorrow, as you mentioned last week, are you pretty clear with where you're going with that?
Yeah, well, I don't think we'll be doing anything.
So happy with what you have?
Yeah, we'll be happy with what we've got. We've got about 19, 20 players with Jorinks and Banks, and we'll go from there.
Just lastly, thinking back, if you remember the 99 promotion, I think it was Rushden away and Hereford at home, where you got 6 points, it's really tilted things your way. Well, you did do with that now, wouldn't you?
Desperately, yeah. We if we want to get to where we want to get to, a 6 point haul over the Easter holidays against two teams who are really up there would be massive for us. But unfortunately, Port Vale and Northampton probably have other ideas about that. So we'll just see where we are on Monday night and regroup again. But we'll give it everything over the next couple of games.
Thanks, Mark.
Rushden and Kidderminster, wasn't it?
Killy was that?
Yeah.
I couldn't remember.
He couldn't remember. I certainly couldn't remember.
Mark, you said a few times, including after the game at Barnet, that you haven't quite hit the heights of last season, but you're in a just as good a position, if not better than you were last year. Does that mean you've been more consistent, really? Because you haven't had the highs, you haven't had the bad patch either.
Yeah, like I said, 9 defeats all seasons, and after 40 games, that's good going. But we just haven't hit the heights as in just scoring enough goals at the right times to win enough matches. If we'd have done that, we'd have been, where everybody would have wanted to be. Would have been at the top of the table alongside Gillingham. But that's not a complaint or anything like that. It's just a fact of life. The whole division's tighter. But I say with 6 games to go, we're still in a strong position, and hopefully we can finish the season strongly.
Do you think you've had to sacrifice a bit of trying to make yourself more difficult to be beaten this season? Sacrifice a bit of attacking licence or not?
I don't know. I've tried to analyse it over the as we've gone along. So just 1 or 2 players haven't been as good. And I won't name them, but 1 or 2 players haven't been as good in areas that they were last year, and that's taken a little bit away from us. But that said, I'm delighted with where they are. They've shown a lot of character. We lost in the playoff final, and it could have killed teams. It could have killed. We've got a pretty inexperienced group at this level. Stevie Elliott's played, and we've added more with Jason Taylor and some of the boys that we've brought to the club. But they could easily, it was a new team last year. They could easily have been one season wonders and sort of buckled and not managed to do anything this season. But on the whole, we've been in the top 6, 7 pretty much all season. Would have all liked to have played better, but I think the whole league as a total division is so tight. The top, the bottom, there's so very little between the 2 teams, and that's because there's a lot of good players in the division. There's a lot of good managers, and teams are setting up and making it difficult for whoever you play against.
You're now seen as a decent side because of what you did last season, but do you think some of those players you spoke about are also now seen as dangerous players, and they've been, they're now known
of course
around the league?
We're certainly not an unknown package now. We've had 2 seasons at the right end of the table. Our focus now is not to worry about what people think of us. It's to worry about our next performance and our next result, and just make sure that what we set out to achieve at the start of the season, we do that.
Yeah, you outplayed them at home, didn't you? Pretty much all the way through the game,
and conceded a sloppy goal. And it sort of just summed us up at that time. We were really playing well without winning enough games. They're a good side. They've got the top scorer in the league, who scored 20 odd goals, if not more. Won the division's top player. They've got Lee Hughes, who I know personally was a massive threat. Particularly in our division. They've got good midfield players. They've got decent wide players, and they're strong at the back. They're a good side, because it's the time of day, and it will be a really tough game if we're to get anything out of it.
Yeah, you did inquire tentatively about Hughes in the summer, didn't you? But you surprised to see him playing in League 2? I know he's getting on a bit now, but he's still scoring goals.
I think he's got an appetite to score goals and play. He just wants to play, and I knew after I spoke to him in the summer that he wasn't happy that he thought he was only be a bit part player at Notts County, but he's gone there and shown people what he can do.
Yeah, like we've spoken about recently, there's certain clubs that you seem to do well against and others you don't. But yeah, I don't think you've lost to Vale since you've been Cheltenham manager, have you? So
let's keep that going, John.
Yeah. Right. Cheers, Mark.
All right.
Cheers, Mark.